I think Bijan Robinson is going to be the top running back in all of the NFL.
Bijan's definitely the next great one.
I believe he's going to have an offensive player of the year.
I don't even know how to explain it. He do like unreal stuff like I've never even seen.
Bijan Robinson was drafted to be a superstar. Instead, he spent 2023 splitting carries and watching from the sidelines in big moments.
One of the reasons why the Falcons lost that game is they didn't have their best players on the field at all times.
But in 2024, Atlanta handed him the keys, and he turned the Falcons offense into a highlight reel.
Robinson, stop and go. Robinson slips through the hole.
Now, in 2025, he's got his sights set on the RB1 crown, and defenses are going to struggle to stop him in this loaded offense.
Father God, we come and say thank you. God, thank you for bringing us out here on this Sunday to give you glory and to go out here and make this our sanctuary for you.
At the University of Texas, Bijan Robinson was a human highlight reel. Across 31 games, he racked up 4,200 scrimmage yards and 41 touchdowns while averaging 7 yards every time he touched the ball. When he entered the draft in 2023, he was labeled a can't-miss weapon, and Atlanta didn't miss.
The Atlanta Falcons select Bijan Robinson, running back, Texas,
making him the highest drafted running back in 5 years. In that moment, it felt like the Falcons were building around Bijan. They were ready to unleash a superstar, which is why what happened next made no sense at all. This wasn't some slow rollout for a rookie. Bijan was the featured back, leading the team with 272 total touches while piling up 1,463 scrimmage yards and 8 touchdowns.
So Robinson, he's got it at the 20, and touchdown!
He was the engine of the offense, except when it mattered most, because once they got inside the 20, Bijan started to vanish. The Falcons ran the ball 65 times in the red zone in 2023. Bijan got 22 of those carries and Tyler Algier got 35. That's 54% for Algier and just 34% for Bijan Robinson. Even though Bijan averaged more yards per carry and was the most dynamic player on the field, he kept getting pulled in key moments. Goal line runs, third and shorts, crucial red zone snaps, they all kept going to Tyler Algier. Bijan scored 4 touchdowns on just 22 red zone carries. Algier got 35 chances and only found the end zone 3 times. Bijan even added 2 touchdowns through the air on just 9 red zone targets, something Algier didn't even do once. He was the more efficient and more versatile back, yet when it mattered most, he was the one standing on the sideline. Meanwhile, the offense sputtered, drives stalled, games got away, and Falcons fans were left wondering, why draft a Ferrari if you're just going to drive it around the parking lot? Bijan would break off a 12-yard run, make 2 guys miss, spin out of a tackle, and then get shown the bench, subbed off like it was someone else's show to finish.
I'm a Bijan fantasy owner. I'm like refreshing my phone watching the game like it's Bijan. He's not even on the field. They're running Cordero Patterson and Bijan's lead blocking Cordero into the end zone. What is going on? That got him in the doghouse.
And it wasn't just fantasy managers screaming online. It was the fans who wanted to see their featured back get, well, featured. To be clear, Robinson's 5.4 yards per touch were electric and passed the eye test, but something about that rookie season felt constrained and too conservative. The front office tend to agree, and fired head coach Arthur Smith in January of 2024. The season ended in frustration, and Bijan walked away from year 1 with a stat sheet that looked solid but left everyone hungry for more. Fortunately, that hunger didn't go away, and in 2024, the Falcons finally handed him the keys to the city. And you can give us a hand by hitting those like and subscribe buttons. After 2023, the Falcons cleaned house. Arthur Smith was out, and in came Raheem Morris with a new vision and a new voice running the offense, Zach Robinson. And from day one, the message was clear. This offense was going to run through number 7.
The more you can hand the football to number 7, the better you're going to be.
In 2024, Bijan Robinson was all over on the football field, not only as a runner, but also catching screens, sweeps, wheel routes, and even draws out of empty sets. If the ball was moving, it was probably in Bijan's hands, and for the first time, Atlanta started looking dangerous, not simply because of Bijan's productivity, but also his unpredictability. Defenses didn't know from one play to the next if Bijan would be in the backfield, the slot, or motioned out wide, and as a result, he was catching linebackers flat-footed and torching safeties in space. The results were impressive as he racked up 365 touches for 1,887 scrimmage yards and 15 total touchdowns. He dropped over 110 scrimmage yards a game and scored in 11 of them. And this time, when the Falcons got inside the 20, they fed Bijan.
Hand on the ground for Tyler. They'll hand to Robinson. And Bijan, touchdown Atlanta.
It was the complete reversal of his rookie year. No more being pulled in goal to go and no more third and short drama. Bijan got the work and he made it count.
Robinson alone. He'll walk into the end zone. Goodness.
But despite the huge leap in production, the Falcons still had their flaws. They weren't a juggernaut yet, but they finally leaned into their best weapon. The talent was never the question, so when the usage finally caught up, Bijan didn't just reward that trust, he made a statement.
Their whole energy is changed. It even makes my confidence higher because I have to see so many different things now.
In 2024, the Falcons did more than just feature Bijan Robinson. They built their offense around him and then let the monster loose. But this wasn't simply about increased touches, it was the overall design. Zach Robinson gave Bijan more than a playbook. He gave him a map and the freedom to roam. They ran inside zone, split zone, counters, and traps, then masked it all with receiver motion and option looks that forced defenders to hesitate just long enough for number 7 to hit daylight. You never knew where Bijan was going to launch from, so when he took the handoff, you didn't know who was pulling, sealing, or peeling out to block in space. This offense was completely unpredictable, and Bijan Robinson was the chaos. But what truly makes this kid dangerous is his understated receiving game. Because Bijan wasn't just slipping through gaps and taking checkdowns, he was torching linebackers and safeties on a regular basis. At Texas, he caught 60 passes for over 800 yards and 8 touchdowns. He looked like a slot receiver with running back power, and in Atlanta, that same skill set exploded.
Couple of nice moves, out across the 45 and still going.
In 2024, Bijan hauled in 61 catches on 72 targets for 431 receiving yards and a touchdown. Only Devon Achane and Alvin Kamara caught more passes among running backs. He was nearly as dangerous through the air as he was on the ground. On one play, he's faking a stretch run to the left. The next, he's motioning wide and catching a screen behind pulling linemen. Then they flex him into the slot, clear the safeties, and he walks untouched into the seam. And that's what made Bijan unstoppable last year. You couldn't key in and you couldn't predict because he didn't just run routes, he forced defenses to cover every blade of grass. And when defenses played soft, they got punished on the ground.
Bijan Robinson hits the hole, stays on his feet, speeds down the sideline to the end zone.
The first month of 2024 said it all. The Falcons opened the season against an absolute gauntlet of defenses in Pittsburgh, Philly, and Kansas City, and he still managed to average 95 scrimmage yards a game, including a win over the future Super Bowl champions. Bijan didn't break 100 yards on the ground in any one of those matchups, but he caught nearly everything that was thrown his way and approached 100 receiving yards over those first few games. Those are wide receiver 2 numbers on most NFL teams. Fantasy managers in PPR leagues were going crazy, and so were defensive coordinators. Atlanta had finally figured it out, and they were building everything around Bijan Robinson. The results were a nightmare for opposing defenses and a hell of a lot of fun for everyone watching, unless your fantasy team was playing against him.
Bijan steps through, flag down 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Atlanta.
Hey, Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah, baby.
Let's go.
Yeah, baby.
Let's go.
In 2023, Bijan Robinson burned fantasy managers. He was a top 10 pick who was used like a committee back, and managers who reached for him paid the price. But in 2024, he paid them back with a full-on fantasy takeover. In PPR leagues, Bijan finished as running back 3, and if you had him on your roster, it felt like you had the cheat code. He averaged over 20 points per game while delivering 15 total touchdowns, and down the stretch, when championships are won, Bijan was unmatched, averaging 24.2 points per game from week 11 through 17. From week 7 on, he averaged nearly 24 touches per game and turned them into consistent dominance. 100-yard games, multi-score games, and weekly winners. There was no guessing, no boom or bust, no holding your breath. Every week he produced, and every week he gave you a shot to win. And again, it wasn't just rushing. Bijan caught 61 passes in 2024 to To put that in perspective, that's more than Sam Laporta, George Pickens, and Jalen Waddle, all while rushing for 1,456 yards and 14 touchdowns. If you had him, Bijan gave you a ridiculously high floor, a massive ceiling, and no dead weeks. No other back in football combined volume, efficiency, and consistency like he did. And now he's being drafted as an RB1, locked in as the focal point of the offense. Not maybe, not a sleeper, just the guy. In every format, standard, half, full PPR, Bijan's name is coming off the board top 3 because fantasy managers know what's coming. The volume is there, the offense is built around him, the trust is real, and his explosiveness puts him one cut away from 6 on any given play. You don't get chances like this often in fantasy. A dual threat back with top tier volume, insane talent, and no competition for touches. That's how leagues get won, and if 2024 was redemption, 2025 might be the coronation. When you build an offense around a back like Bijan Robinson, it doesn't just change the run game, it changes everything. Defenses have to key on him, stack the box, and track the motion. That attention creates space, and Atlanta has weapons ready to exploit it. Drake London is stepping into his prime. Physical, reliable, dangerous after the catch, and for the first time, he won't be getting bracketed on every snap because safeties will be watching Bijan. At tight end, Kyle Pitts has the tools, but 2025 may be his last shot to prove it. With defenses focused on Bijan, Pitts will have his chance to take the next step or risk being labeled one of the biggest letdowns of the draft class. And then there's Michael Penix Jr., the second-year quarterback who will be leading this offense full-time in 2025. MP9 has the arm to stretch the field, but with Bijan behind him, he won't need to force it. He doesn't need to force anything or play hero ball, because Robinson gives him the one thing every young quarterback needs: a safety valve. Screens, checkdowns, delays, dump-offs. If the play breaks down, Bijan's there. Reliable, dangerous, and most importantly, trusted. He gives Penix a high percentage option on every snap, and when the defense forgets to cover him, Bijan makes them pay.
Bijan, some things that he does on tape, it's crazy.
Bouncing left, circling all the way to the left side, he'll score!
That's the true power of a true feature back. He doesn't just rack up stats, he lifts the entire system, and in Atlanta, that system is finally loaded. A dynamic receiver, a matchup nightmare at tight end, a young quarterback with the tools, and now the support. All of it made possible by the threat of number 7.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Yep.
Atlanta drafted a superstar, then held him back in year 1, but in year 2, Bijan Robinson took over and became the weapon we all expected, and now the crown is within reach. He's no longer just a breakout or a sleeper. He's a full-blown nightmare for defenses and the foundation of a rising offense that's going nuclear in 2025. So now we're asking you, is Bijan Robinson officially the RB1 in fantasy and real life, or are there still questions to answer? Drop your take in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to Snap Count for film breakdowns, fantasy domination, and the cleanest football stories on YouTube.